Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. And we have reached the end of this season. It's episode 20, the end. Brian?
Yeah.
Made it?
Go on, say that again. You phased out a bit then.
Made it.
We've made it.
We've made it.
We've made it to the end, the very
Yes.
end of season 5. Yep. Okay.
Shall we do our little guessing game?
Let's do it. So 217 episodes. IMDb rankers. Kind of want to call them something else sometimes.
Yeah.
But where do you think it sits?
Yeah. Sometimes I think I get a little bit too analytical with this because I'm looking into all different kinds of ideas, and I always think like the end episodes are generally well received, and in that way, not to foreshadow my thoughts, I will say 31.
15.
15. Ooh, that's
15,
high.
yes.
Wowzer.
15. Yeah. I think for a lot of people, this probably should have been the end. I think, and I've said this before, I'm just so torn because for me, it would have been a great end to the show moving into films. But then there are still a lot of great episodes to come in the other seasons that you wouldn't get if this had been the end. But then the legacy of the show, I feel, would still be so much stronger if they'd have ended on this and just carried on with movies, I think. But
yeah,
we'll never know. So
never know. And then how do you really finish a TV show after this season? Like where almost every episode was terrific.
Yeah.
It's really, folk would be like, I want more of that. Like I understand we're going to get a movie every 2 years. I want 20 episodes a year. Like, it's tough.
And I've been looking through the episode listings of season 6 just to try and remind myself what's coming. And we've got some amazing episodes coming.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it is that thing where it's like, it's tough. It's tough. Season 7, I could cope with it if they'd have finished after season 7 and then stuck to movies. I could cope with even though there's still some good episodes in season 8, and a couple dotted about here and there. I could cope with losing them. So I reckon season 7 would have been. After this, season 7 will be the next best breaking point, I reckon. But yeah,
okay,
let's get into it. So we open up the episode on a chess match in front of thousands of Vancouver extras. That's it.
Yeah,
these guys aren't CGI. This is a genuine stadium filled with people.
And I think this is probably like I found this hard to believe that many people would be there watching this. Now I don't know
because it's chess.
Because it's chess, but I mean there seems to be it's like a stadium, like it's rammed.
Yeah,
I didn't buy it.
And you've got to rely on the big screens, haven't you? Because I can't even see the board from up here. These are the worst seats ever.
Yeah.
But so apparently, competitive chess can be a real
crowd drawer. Yeah.
Crowd pleasing. Yeah, kind of. So, but it's pretty impressive to look at anyway. Basically, this was the last episode they were going to shoot in Vancouver. They were going to move up to LA at the start of season 6. And as a thank you to the fans, they just said, look, we're filming this major scene for the final episode. We need extras. X-Files fans, just rock up and find you a seat. And I think they actually had to turn some people away that many times.
Wow.
So, but so
just thinking of people, I'm going to be in an episode of the X-Files.
Getting the magnifying glasses out on the screen. It's just So we see this chess match being played out between a child and a fully grown man. and then we see a assassin up in the rafters, kind of setting up his weapon, taking aim, getting ready. He's gets a bead on the guy, the man, and it looks like he's aiming for the kid, to be honest. But then the kid hears things. He hears like voices. It's like a multitude of voices in his head, and then he starts looking around like he's aware of something, and then he makes a move. And as he makes a move, the gunman takes his shot and completely misses the kid and takes out the other player instead. And he falls to the floor. He knocks the chessboard off the table, and then we cut to another shot of the kid looking rather shocked, where the chessboard is still on the table. And then, I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't notice.
It bugs me every time I see it. Anyway, but yeah, that's the opening, basically. So, what do you think of that as an opening?
It's a fairly interesting opening. I don't think there's any duality whatsoever that the kid is the target. You know, it's just, I know they try to play as if it's the guy, but we all know it's not. And you're left with like some questions, and it just goes into the episode after that. I like it as an opening. It's fairly strong.
Yeah. I like how cinematic it is, and I do think, you know, we say this a lot on this podcast, that this is a TV show in the 90s, and they're doing something here that you don't do on a TV show in the 90s. You don't shoot in a full stadium and get that many people in and fill it up.
No.
It's just it's cinematic. It's cinema. This doesn't feel like TV. It feels like cinema. Unfortunately, they clearly only had the shooting schedule of a TV show, because they couldn't shoot enough shots to make sure that chessboard went off in each one. But yeah, if you go back and watch it, the guy falls off, he knocks the chessboard, it spins on the table, and the next time we see it, it's on the floor, kind of thing. It's like,
I was too captivated by the Harry Potter looking boy. Just...
Gibson praise. Okay. A mainstay of the show from here on out. Not like it. Yeah, so this isn't a one and done guy, just so you know. This is a recurring character. He's not in every episode, but he will make several returns in the show. So
good.
Okay, so we get past the opening credits, and we're in the Laurentian Mountains, where two masked men parachute in like a pair of Bond villains, and they raise the alarm. They trip this alarm. We know where they are because we saw back in Patient X and the Red and the Black. This is where Cancer Man is hiding out. So it looks like two guys, masked men, have finally come to kill him. One of them goes up, checks the door handle, and then gets shot in the face. So Cancer Man's just not messing about, just blows this guy away, does a runner out through it back. The other masked man kind of chases him down, takes a shot, like fires a shot in the air to kind of tell him to stop. It rips off the mask. It's Krychek. It's
a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, nice surprise. Imagine if he'd have been the one who got shot. Never happened. No. But so yeah, like obviously Krychek hates Cancer Man, because there's been multiple times that Cancer Man has, he's tried to blow him up in a car. He's left him in a missile silo to presumably die alone with an alien. So
you could literally count on both hands how many times he hates him. One.
Yes. It's just like the Cancer Man is not Krychek's favorite dude. So you could understand him pulling the trigger here and just saying, stuff went wrong. But no, Cancer Man's like, just pull the trigger then, Alex, and then just starts to walk away, and he fires another warning shot in the air, and then he just says like, they sent me to bring you back. So basically the syndicate are going to bring him back into the fold, and they've sent our boy Krychek to do it. Bit risky, I would say.
What I like
send the one man who's got the biggest vendetta to bring him back.
But then Krychek knows where his bread is buttered as well. He kind of, I found this like a little bit weird. How like we've come to bring you back, but we're going to parachute in and attack you in balaclavas with armed weapons. You know, like there must have been an easier way to approach that situation. But my favorite thing about this opening is Cancer Man running through the forest and in the snow with his like chest out, you know, like the hero shot kind of thing. It's so unsettling. I'm so used to seeing him like stilted in a suit, but with his like top open, like running through the snow was just shocking.
Okay. In answer to why do they send the masked guys, my assumption would be that, look, we know he's a shifty bugger. We know he's going to have booby traps. The places, if he sees anyone he doesn't like, he's going to shoot them on sight, which he does basically.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that's the reason for the stealth tactics. Like if they just went waltzing up there, then but obviously it didn't work that well for him because one of them still got killed. But
yeah.
If you ask me, that the one who got shot is the one that they sent purposefully to die. Is like, Krychek, when you get there, right, send him to the door because that'll lure out Cancer Man because you know he's dying. You know he's taking a shot. So okay, so we go there to Skinner's in Mulder's office. And it's looking rather somber kind of thing. He's in one of those, I'm going to have a moment with my boy Mulder here. And he asks Mulder about his long-term plans. And Mulder's like, just looking through X-Files. Clearly, these are his long-term plans. And he's like,
but it feels a bit of, like when you get to the end of the episode, you're like, did he know something was coming down the pipeline one way or another? Because it's that kind of question you ask when you know that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
The one time in actual life that someone brought that up to me, the next day redundancies were announced. Never wanted to do anything else with your life, and then next day, huge company restructuring.
And then they throw that thing back in your face and say, "Well, you did say you always wanted to." Now might be the time to do that. So it's like, what do what do you hope to find, basically? And but he tells him that Spender has been given a shooting case and doesn't want Mulder included. So this is basically Skinner throwing Mulder a bone, letting him in on something that he knows is right up Mulder's alley, and the fact that Spender has deliberately asked for him to be kept out, and also we've seen before that Skinner has told Spender himself that Spender has got friends in high places. So Skinner knows that to a certain degree, this new kid on the block, this Spender guy, is protected in some way. And I don't think Skinner likes that. I think that rubs him up the wrong way because, he's a by the book kind of guy. He bases his opinion on people based off their merits, not by who they know and what favors they've been given. So he goes straight to Mulder and he's like, he wanted you kept out, so I'm telling you. So the obvious thing that Mulder does then is go directly to the deep.
Yeah, well, I like the smile that Mulder gives. It's like an understanding between these two, just going like, okay, I can mess this up, yeah.
Yeah, and it just
It's almost like schoolboy tactics where someone goes and says to somebody, hey, that this person's doing that, and then goes to watch the fallout because when they go into the room, like
Yeah, it's not just
Skinner's there.
Mulder there, Skinner's there as well. And
Skinner's
it's
there,
like,
but he's almost sitting in the back with his arms crossed, going, "Now, let it start."
Oh man. So Spender's doing his debrief of the chess player shooting, and Mulder interrupts, much to Spender's chagrin. Like you can literally see it on Spender's face. He does an eye roll so big that you practically hear it in his eye sockets. It's like, but he basically Mulder just flat out tells Spender that he thinks he's wrong because Spender is positing the theory that the shooter missed the shooter got his man. Why did he shoot this chess player? What have we got on this chess player? Why did he shoot him? And Mulder's just like, no, I just think you're wrong. It just flat out says you're wrong in front of everyone.
I love how Mulder walks in, and at that point you're seeing like a slow motion of the guy falling after he's been shot, just playing in the background, and I'm like, what has Mulder seen there? Absolutely nothing, but he's just going wrong. You're wrong. I know you well enough to know whatever you're thinking is just wrong.
Oh man. So Spender gets pissy with him, but a female agent played by Mimi Rogers, quite a big name actress in her own right. She had her heyday. She backs up Mulder, and I will also just remind you, the third actor from Ginger Snaps to appear in this season of the show,
and the only one of the three to end up in a good episode,
in a decent episode. Yeah. Okay. So this character, Diana Fowley, I should say, she's kind of sat there in the back, and she speaks up for Mulder. Instantly, she's kind of supporting what he's saying. They're looking at the footage on the camera. She's like, look at the movement. You can see the boy clearly looks like he knows something. He makes that purposeful movement, avoids the bullet. So we're left kind of like, oh, who's this woman then?
Yeah.
And Scully's like, who's this woman then?
And then so she pulls a Mulder, doesn't she? Where she shouts out precognitive ability.
yes, yeah, basically. Yeah, she says the thing that Mulder should be saying right now. And Mulder's kind of like, you can't tell if he's like, respect, or whether he's like, oh crap.
I was going to say that.
yeah. So I've got a competition here. So, but
and now Spender's like, well, there's two of them.
Oh man, right. So it's midnight. There's a midnight meeting with the syndicate, and Krychek pulls up in a car, brings Cancer Man, who scolds them. Basically, Cancer Man he's like got no F's to give. Yeah. He's just roasting him, basically.
To surmise it, it's just kind of like, you don't like me, but you need me.
Yeah, pretty much. So they want him to deal with the situation concerning the boy. Well-manicured man is sickened by the suggestion to splatter his brains. But they ask if they can count on him, and he says yes. But I kind of respect Cancer Man in this scene. I never thought I'd say that, but it's just like, the guy is such a douche, and he's clearly like the main villain of the show. But he's right. It's like, these guys, the rest of these guys can pretend all they want that they have their virtues, and that, like well-manicured man of the bunch, he's always seemed like the one who's most virtuous. He's helped Mulder at times. He's shown a disdain for certain tactics that they've used at times, but you're still complicit in it. You're still like, if you don't say anything,
yeah.
if you don't do anything, then you're complicit. You're just as bad as the
Mhm.
person who pulls the trigger. It's just that Cancer Man's willing to admit that, he's the guy who
Yeah.
pulls the trigger. So, so I do respect his position on that, and it, yeah, I do kind of, in a way, I want him to just end all these people and just take over himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so. Agent Fowley works in counter-terrorism these days,
Yep.
but she's here because there were things at home she wants to get back to, which is if that isn't a statement loaded with subtext, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And Scully ain't happy about that one bit. So yeah, so you got this scene playing out where we're just learning a bit about Fowley. We see that she has a bit of a history with
Yeah.
with
We've got the
Mulder.
main story here, which I really like, but all the way through this, there's this subtext of a love triangle, which is absolutely delightful every time it rears its head. It's kind of funny. Like I really enjoy all this kind of, like, because it's unspoken by most of the people that are involved, by all of the people that are involved. But you can see in their reactions, like, how they're kind of feeling here, but it never really dwells on it. It's just kind of funny moments.
At this point in the episode, I'm really interested to know because I know what the fan base kind of reaction is. I'd be interested to know, because you're coming to it fairly fresh.
Yeah,
I think that I don't know I don't know if you remember seeing this one previously or what when you got to
I remember the chess sequence, and that was about it, I think.
Right. Okay. How do you feel about Diana Fowley? What's your gut reaction to her?
Oh, I don't trust her.
Right.
I just don't trust her. Like, because I don't know what's going at this point in the episode. I don't know what she's there for, or her history with Mulder. As it kind of goes on, I become more kind of trustworthy, and I feel like she's back for him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I love how Scully's put out a place, because she starts to discover this history of someone that she never knew about, even through 5 years of working, and just the way people refer to her. Like in the Lone Gunman sequence, they said that they split up. It's
yeah.
Their partners, like, but it's referred to as if it's like a breakup type of thing.
Yeah.
And just it's the fun things that, like, Scully, when she sees them together, runs to the car. To get away.
Yeah, you can see that she's kind of like seething.
Yeah.
And I think because so basically X-Files fans, most X-Files fans from what I've seen, they hate Diana Fowley. They
No.
they absolutely despise her. Now I certainly from this episode, and just this episode, I don't despise her. I don't hate her. I do look at her as a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm all about Mulder and Scully. I'm definitely all about Scully. I don't want anything to come between that. But I'm not sitting here thinking, die, bitch, die.
No.
And that seemed to be the reaction that she got from a lot of fans, even from this episode on.
I think there's one conversation, I can't remember where it comes, where I think Mulder is talking to Diana, and he mentions, like, Scully, how she's a scientist, and she makes, what is it, the phrasing, she makes him work to get the response that he wants. And it's just kind of like, in that phrase alone, I'm like, he likes this partnership because it makes him better, like, more than having somebody that just agrees with him and goes with him. That kind of challenging aspect helps him be better at what he does. And it's just that subtext there where I'm like, well, he's with Scully. Scully's with him, and that's not going to change.
Yeah, and he makes that clear. And I like that. I like that you can see that this is awkward for him. You can see that this is awkward for Scully. But I don't think that the writers leave us in any doubt as to where their relationship still stands here, you know. And I did love that line as well, actually, when Mulder
So
says that.
if anything, this character shows how strong the bond is between Mulder and Scully. It reinforces it. So
Yeah.
for that, how could you hate somebody that comes in and reaffirms our main partnership?
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, back to the episode. They go to see Gibson Praise, who tells Mulder he's got a dirty mind.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, really great stuff. Once again,
Yep.
it's just like constantly
It's playing on the fact
alluding.
that, I mean, I'm pretty sure Mulder is just a pervert now. You know, like it's just
Yeah, man. Mulder calls him out on his ability to read minds. Gibson doesn't hold back. Mulder says he's gonna need around the clock protection. So yeah, so he turns to Diana and Scully, and he's like, instantly, he's like, yeah, I know what this kid's all about. He can read minds, and Gibson doesn't try and hide it. Literally gives.
But
And
I will tell
go on.
I'll tell you one bit that had me in stitches, Brian. It's when the boy looks up and goes, "I'm not playing chess." And Mulder goes, "How do you know that? Did you read my mind?" And he's like, "No, you're holding a giant chess set in your hand." And Mulder holds up this huge chess set. I was killing myself laughing at that. I just thought it was so ridiculous. Because they hide it with the blocking with the episode. I didn't see that in his hand at all.
Yeah. But I love this kid as well. So this kid Gibson makes a real impact, I think, in this episode, and you can see why they brought him back, because great little actor at the time. He instills this kid with a lot of character, because there's so many times during this episode where, like, you got to bear in mind, given the gift that he has, he will have been introduced to ideas, to concepts, to conversations, to things that no kid should ever have to deal with at that age. If you're sat there in a room as a kid, ideally you'd be wanting to think about Transformers and, you know, like reading comic books, whatever. But if you're sat there and you can hear the voices of the adults that are in the room, they can get pretty dark sometimes, and you know, and it's just so. This is a kid. This is a kid who's got so much weight on his shoulders, and yet still just wants to be a kid. Still just wants to sit there and watch cartoons. Because when he's watching the TV, when he's watching the cartoons, he can zone everything else out and just be a kid. And you've got to get an actor who can really convey that. And they could have gone so wrong with the casting on this, and I don't think they do. I think this kid nails it. So yeah, great job there. But and he has that sarcasm as well that an older person would have, and the delivery is spot on. So yeah, but there we go. So Scully doesn't behave. Sorry, bad notes there. Scully doesn't believe what Mulder is insinuating, but again, Fowley backs him up, and he tells her to run some tests. Scully says, "So you two know each other?" Fowley says, "That was a long time ago." Kind of almost like
before you.
Yeah, before you. It's like
that kind of
territorial pissing, basically. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I've known him longer than you have. So there's nothing you can tell me about him that I don't already know. That it's that kind of comment, and it borders on it's that line. They put Fowley in this episode on that line between she could go either way. Like this could become a woman that this is a woman that Scully could come to respect somewhere down the line. But it could she could also become a woman that Scully comes to really, really hate. Now, I think the fans of the show jumped the gun a little bit and went straight to the
Yeah.
hatred.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I think she sits on that line where it's just okay. Who is she? What's she about? She could go either way. So Mulder wants to speak to the shooter, but Spender tries to get in his way. Mulder isn't having it. He gives him some crap and then goes in anyway. Basically, it doesn't let Spender push him about. So,
But I think, I mean, you see, he gives him some crap, but he gives him some truths. I think.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Spender grudgingly realizes that, and it kind of shakes him a little bit. He needs subtext, but that's what I get from that sequence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So Mulder has Spender get the prisoner something. I love the way Mulder takes control of the situation here. This is Spender's prisoner. Mulder goes in. First, he has to kind of fight Spender to get in there. And then by twisting the way he speaks to Spender, it becomes like the good cop, bad cop kind of thing. And it's like, Spender, you got to get this man some food. And Spender kind of waltzes off like a little kid who's been kind of sent on an errand. So that's pretty funny. But so then he threatens to say that the shooter told him what he already knows, which is that the kid can read minds. So you can see that this rattles the shooter, because the shooter knows that the people that he works for, they can get to him. If they want to get to him, they can get to him. And the only thing at the moment stopping them from getting to him is the notion that he's not told anybody anything. So all Mulder's got to say is what he already knows, and say that he got it from this guy. So, so Gibson comes out of having been scanned. So he's been in like a brain scan kind of thing. Scully holds his hand. He tells her that she's wondering about Fowley. So it's like I love the fact that he just doesn't try and hide this thing, and I get the feeling as well that this kid has no friends. He is a complete loner, and it's one of the reasons he plays chess. It's
Go on, Ben. Because you can play chess alone. So
it's just I've just realised that I've insulted all the chess players.
Everybody that plays chess,
I am speaking as someone who was captain of the B team at high school. So I'm not that wasn't meant as an offensive kind of dig.
Sure. Keep digging that hole, Brian.
But I at school I kind of liked I liked keeping myself to myself, and chess was a perfect game to do that. It wasn't a team sport. It relied only on you to go up against whoever it was you were playing, and you didn't have to talk to that person. So that suited me quite nicely. But yeah, you get the sense that this kid doesn't hide his powers, doesn't hide the fact that he's able to read minds, and I would imagine that's not a particularly great way of making friends. And I would also imagine he's not interested in making friends, given the fact he can hear what's going on in their heads anyway. So, but yeah, he says what we already know, which is that Scully is wondering about Fowley. Basically, Fowley is now on her mind. She's really rattled by this woman who's just suddenly reappeared into Mulder's life. So we have this little kind of test thing on Gibson where he's been shown these picture cards, but like it's the people showing him the cards can see the pictures. He sees the cards from the other side, so he can't see anything. But he's saying exactly what's on the card each time. Fowley tells Scully of some of the work she and Mulder did in the past. Scully looks on edge before making herself scarce. I I like there's a reaction by one of the guys with the cards that I like it because I feel like it's natural. I feel like it feels
Uh-huh.
like a real natural reaction where he laughs basically and gets
Yeah.
excited by the fact that this kid has just nailed it. He's got all
Yeah,
these
it's fun.
cards right. But you look at the kid, you look at Gibson, and he's taking no joy from this. He's feeling like a lab rat right now.
Mm.
And this guy just doesn't seem to understand that. This is like the first time they're meeting this kid, but
Mhm.
I can't remember the name of the actor who plays Gibson, unfortunately. But I just, again, credit to him because you instantly understand where he's at without him even saying anything. Just that kind of that nonplussed, just out of it kind of. I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah.
Fine, I will do your little test. I will play your little game. I will jump through your hoops. But I just want to go back to my TV and watch my cartoons, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And that's just written all over his face without him saying anything. So yeah, I just think it's a really well played scene. So we have a little scene where we go back to the shooter and he's given a
Yeah.
note. So somebody opens the door and hands him a note. Then we go to Scully, who goes to see
The Lone Gunman.
the Lone Gunmen. I just put LGM, but it looked like CGM. I'm like, what? So I swear, man, sometimes my notes are so bad. I'm like, it's been even worse recently though, because I had to make these notes with a fractured arm. So it's like I've sat there like So anyone who's watching the visual on this, if you're wondering why my arm's strapped up, I've fractured my arm on my collarbone. So yeah, these notes, you're lucky I can read them at all, quite frankly.
Yep.
Yeah, Scully goes to see the Lone Gunmen, who, yeah, she wants them to look at Gibson's scans, and but basically she wants them to tell her about Fowley. So she goes in, she's like, yeah, I want you to look at these scans, and then she does this thing where she kind of puts the laptop, she kind of slams it down, and she's like, right, this Fowley bitch, tell me about him.
Well,
It's like,
just before that, she does that wee thing where she's telling the guys what she's looking for, and then she mentions, is it parapsychology or something like that? And they're all like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then she's like, right where I want them. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, she's like, she gets the lowdown from them about the fact that her and Mulder did used to go out. They even worked cases together, but there was something happened that divided them, that split them, and they went their separate ways. So Mulder goes in to speak with Fowley, who is watching Gibson. She tries to talk crap about Scully, but Mulder laughs it off and tells her he's done okay without her. Scully sees them and carries on walking. So yeah, it's a shame Scully didn't get there a bit sooner and hear that conversation, because if she did, she'd be like, boom, and she'd be going in there like
with a swagger.
Yeah, she'd go in there with a swagger. But certainly us, from an audience standpoint, if the little comment we got from Mulder earlier wasn't enough, this certainly draws a line in the sand. It's certainly like, you know what? I've done all right without you. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. Me and Scully, we're good. Yeah. I've got my partner, we're good. And it's just like, and you see that in Fowley's face, like kind of there's a genuine disappointment there. And it does go back to like what you said at the start, where you think that she is coming back to maybe try and rekindle something. And I think Mulder kind of squishes that. Whatever embers might have been kindling for her, he's basically just put them out. So yeah. But yeah, Scully gets there just as they have a bit of a kind of a moment that from the outside
isn't a moment. Yeah.
It's not a moment, but if you come and you just see it and that's all you saw, you could put 2 and 2 together and come up with 72. So Scully goes to her car. She calls Mulder, says she wants to show him something at work. So clearly she was going there to show him whatever it was she wanted to show him. But now she's like, no, you come to work. I want to show you there. It's like,
but it's also like she runs away to the car and lies to him, you know, like, and then she's like, it's almost like, drop whatever unimportant stuff you have now because I've got something that is super exciting for you. Do you know, it kind of feels like she's almost like trying to pull him away from what that perceived moment that she thinks that we're having.
Yeah. It's almost like a test, in it. Will he come? Is it will he stay with her or will he come to me? But so she backs out in a car and she sees Spender driving past. So Spender gets out of his car and is stopped by none other than Cancer Man, who tells him not to be controlled and pursue his own self-interests, which sounds like a very Cancer Man thing to say.
I do love, see, whenever anybody's talking in cryptic statements throughout this, they're always relaying it to a chess game. They're like, you control the pieces on the board, Spender. You know, it's like, on the nose. Which I think is hilarious. It's fun.
It is like everyone in this is playing chess. Like just the game of chess is very apt because it feels like every character on the board right now has ulterior motives, whether it's Skinner going to Mulder and letting him in on something that he knew Spender didn't want him being let in on, whether it's Spender who's been given assignments from people higher up that are helping him in his career, whether it's Cancer Man chewing out the syndicate and them having their little tete-a-tete with each other, kind of who's really in charge here, whether it's Krychek, who, you know, has got every reason to shoot Cancer Man dead but doesn't, takes him in. Is that because he himself has got his own agenda going on? You got Fowley, you got, like, literally everyone is playing a game of chess at the minute, and we don't know who is going what way. And even our main characters, Mulder and Scully, are getting involved in that. Like you say, Scully here, she plays this chess move. I'm going to make this phone call. Will he come to me or will he stay with her? But yeah, so I like that Cancer Man just, he's like, don't be controlled, pursue your own self-interests. Be a selfish bastard, basically, like me.
Like your old man.
Yeah. So Mulder sees them talking and Cancer Man legs it. He's pretty spry for an old guy.
And it reminds me, and I know it's nothing akin to it, but do you know those moments in the Batman movies where a character turns away for a second and then turns back and they've just gone? It's like that, only you're seeing the part where he runs away. Which just again just tickles me.
It reminds me, there's a YouTube video where somebody's done that. It's like they've taken all the, so they took that scene from The Dark Knight where Batman and Commissioner Gordon are talking in the safe that the Joker's robbed, and they show you the bits that, like, what if Batman wasn't so good at getting away? So they show you the bit where Commissioner Gordon turns away, and just as he turns away, they cut to Batman running off. But it's like, instantly that just flashed across my head when he said that. Then. So Cancer Man legs it. Spender tells him that he didn't know who he was, and he's telling the truth. This is the first time he's met this guy. He's like, I've got no clue who this guy is, but he's turning up, giving me sage advice to be a selfish git. And now I've got Mulder on my ass. Like, I've said this before. I said this in the two-parter that Spender was in. I'll say it again. I know you didn't feel it there, and you probably don't feel it now. And I know that most X-Files fans that I seem to speak to don't seem to be on the same wavelength as me as well. But I do feel sorry for Spender in many ways, because I feel like he is a pawn. He is an absolute pawn, and he doesn't know it. I feel like his whole life has been directed, and he's got no control, and he's always fighting for control because he's never had it.
I feel like he's been pushed into situations where he doesn't belong or have the skills to be able to adapt or do well in those situations. And I feel like he's completely out of his depth, and it's on a hiding to nothing. Like he cannot win here. And I think that's just the sad thing about it.
Like he's got a lot of similarities to Mulder as well in many cases. It's I equate it to the Smallville. The Smallville was always like, it was the two different families. So you've got Clark and you've got Lex. Clark is raised by two wholesome parents who want the best for him, who are always there for him, and Lex is brought up by a single dad who's an absolute bar steward to him. It's obvious which paths they're going to head down, and I feel like Spender's got a similar history to Mulder. He's ended up in the same profession as Mulder, but if you look at Spender, he had similar experiences as a kid that Mulder did, in that he saw an abduction. It was his mother who was abducted. Now, he didn't have a father because his father ran out on him. And the other parent that was there, that should have been there, was being abducted several times. And then he and kind of filling his head with the stories of those abductions, which obviously psychologists have kind of convinced him were just stories. So he is like a flip side of the coin to Mulder. Like, whereas Mulder, his sister was abducted, but he still had both his parents. And we know that his dad was a bit of an ass. But we can see that his mum clearly loved him. He had a decent relationship with his mum. So it is that fine line where if you're not given the tools in life and you go through certain things, this is how you can end up. So I do feel sorry for the guy. Doesn't stop him being an ass at times, but I do feel sorry for him. So we go to Skinner's office and we get Scully's findings. Basically, there's mappings of brain functions and what is known as the God module. So there's something in the brain that scientists refer to as the God module, and it's a part of the brain where it seemingly has no purpose. It's like if it did have a purpose, it doesn't seem to anymore. Evolution, if you want to call it that, has switched it off, and scientists call it the God module. Now, activity has been seen in that part of the brain. So activity that is totally unheard of has been seen in that part of the brain. So basically, Mulder infers that this child could be the key to everything in the X-Files. The missing link, or proof of alien existence, or this kid could be a result of a link to basically he's important. This kid is important. He's the key to a lot of stuff, and a lot of people are going to be coming after him. They also point out the fact that having this kid is quantifiable proof. They've got quantifiable proof. The brain scans show something they shouldn't be showing, and this kid is clearly reading people's minds. Spender still says, despite all this, that it's a load of bollocks. Skinner says everyone out but Mulder. So everyone kind of leaves the room. Skinner thinks Mulder is taking a huge risk to his career. So yeah,
and to the X-Files, and
yeah,
it's basically, this is setting up the repercussions of actions of what's going
yeah,
to happen at the end of the episode.
yeah, yeah. Is it basically saying you're putting all your eggs in one basket? You're
Mhm.
you know you're essentially saying we need to divert all our manpower to this case, to this kid, and if it all goes wrong, you're going to look like a major idiot. You're going to make the FBI look like a disgrace, and your career
Mhm.
could be even further down the basement than it already is. So yeah, Mulder and Spender go to see the shooter. They need more from him before the Attorney General will grant immunity. So he tells
Mhm.
them that the boy is the missing link. Mulder
Yeah.
infers from this that he is part alien. Spender says bollocks once again. So I love how Mulder jumps instantly to aliens.
Yeah.
Like when this guy says he's the missing link, like I'm thinking the missing link, as in like the proof of evolution. Like
Yeah.
if you think of mankind on you've got this theory of evolution, yet there's a missing link there's a thing that says that like okay, we can see it in the bones presumably, like there's the theory kind of is supported by certain evidence in bones, but we never actually see it in our lifetime. So when this guy says he's the missing link, what I'm thinking is, oh right, so this kid is essentially the next step in human evolution. So he would
That's
be
what I got.
proof. Yeah, he would be proof of evolution. He would be proof of, like, this is where we're going. This is why he needs protecting, because all of humanity essentially could be heading this way if he's the next jump forward, so to speak. But no, Mulder's like proof of aliens.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? So, okay. I kind of wish Spender on that one.
Yeah, I think I am as well.
Oh, man. So, well-manicured man scolds Cancer Man for letting Mulder go to the Attorney General with his accusations and theories. Cancer Man says it's all a game. Clear the board by taking all their pieces one by one. So it's literally
Chess. Chess
yeah,
again.
it's chess. It's chess. Cancerman's a chess player. He's allowing Mulder to make a fool of himself. He's allowing Mulder to go to the Attorney General, to go to the highest powers that be, get them involved in this case as something super kind of like, this is the key to everything we've worked for the past 5 years.
Mm.
And then he's going to take away those pieces so that he's got no evidence. He's got nothing to back it up with. And he's going to look like an absolute fool. Cancer Man is in control here. He just doesn't know it yet. Well, I mean, Cancer Man does, but well-manicured man doesn't. And I think that pisses him off, basically. So Scully talks to Gibson, who tells her why he likes chess, which is basically that you're only hearing one person's thoughts. That's the person in front of you. And because their thoughts are so focused on the game that they're playing, it's peaceful, it's relaxing.
But also, like
also
here when he talks to Scully and says that he likes talking to her because she's thinking what she's saying. There's no duality in between that.
He also says she doesn't care what other people think except for Fowley. She promises him that no one is going to kill him, which is people, adults, our heroes in shows and movies, they always say this kind of stuff, and I'm always like, don't make a promise like that. You can't keep.
Yeah, but I can't remember what the boy says, but it's something like, I know you do, like, as in, like, I believe that's what you believe, but like, I'm not as confident.
Yeah. So it's basically just that she's gonna look after him. She's gonna take care of him, and he knows that she means it, and he knows that she's on his side, basically. But yeah, so we go to the shooter in the cell, and he gets another little note. He reads the note, quickly turns around, and gets shot. Which begs the question: why bother giving him a note?
Well, there's nothing on the note. It's blank.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and he's almost like, huh?
yeah. Do you think that's just literally to distract him so that he doesn't dodge?
Well, the first note he gets just says, "You're a dead man." Like, it's not subtle or anything. Like, there's no
Yeah.
cryptic message there. And this
Yeah.
one's just like, I think it's just letting him know who's killing him. Like the cigarette smoking man.
So then Fowley is shot. So Fowley is looking after Gibson. Gibson tells her that there's someone outside, and now the way it plays, it's almost like he sets her up to get shot. He doesn't. I don't think he does. I think this is. Yeah. But,
It's a lot of supposing, I guess, but he's at the window. He can read the man's thoughts. The boy may feel like this is the best way for him to stay unharmed.
maybe.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, because if he gets caught in the middle of a gunfight, then things could happen. So I'm not entirely unsure that he didn't set her up.
Right.
Because he knows that the guy's there to kill her, so why draw her to the window?
Yeah, but he's like,
he's already he sacrificed somebody in the first sequence as well for his own preservation. So like,
this is true. This is very true. Which again feeds into that idea that this ain't a kid no more. He's been hearing adult thoughts his whole life, so he knows about subterfuge. He knows about some of the darkest things people can do.
And he knows what she's been thinking. We don't have any idea. But there's a bit of duality there. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. So Mulder and Scully arrive. Skinner fills them in, hands Mulder the Morley's wrapper that was left in the shooter's cell. It's like, could you be any more like, as just Cancer Man saying, I want you to know it was me. It's like, it's just, so it's midday and the syndicate are having another meeting. Cancer Man hands Gibson over to the syndicate, and then as he walks off, Cancer Man tells him he tells well manicured man that he's a hang about. Cancer Man tells him he's a compliment to his cowardice. Oh, right, yeah, that's it. Yeah, says you're a compliment to your cowardice, and that his work is just beginning. Krychek kind of gives well manicured man the notion that I could take him out now. I could literally win him over. So, Krychek wants to, and then the car kind of comes speeding towards him, and but it goes right past him. So well manicured man said, no, nix that idea. So Mulder attacks Spender. So basically, he takes the Morley wrapper, shoves it in Spender's face, and because he saw Spender talking to Cancer Man, he knows that Cancer Man is the one responsible for killing the guy in the cell. He knows that presumably because of that, Cancer Man is the one who has shot. Is responsible for shooting Diana Fowley. He's responsible for stealing Gibson praise. Basically, Cancer Man's been gone the whole season. He's re-announced himself in the biggest way possible.
With a vengeance.
With a vengeance, yeah. He comes back and he just totally takes control of the situation. He steals all the evidence. He takes out the players by shooting them all. And he's not finished yet. But
to go back to my earlier schoolboy analogy, again, it happens here where Mulder comes in, grabs him, insults him, and then leaves. And then a good while after Mulder's away, Spender's like, "Yeah, I'll get you for this," all in a whisper.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate cowardly
God.
thing to do, isn't it? It's like, don't defend yourself there and then, like, get off my back kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
always remember when Mulder attacked Skinner in Anasazi, and Skinner was just like, nope. He just like literally grabs him, like puts him in a chokehold. It's just like, there's no way Mulder's beating Skinner in a fight. And it's just like, yeah, this is the complete opposite of that. He's just like, don't hit me again, don't hit me again. And then he waits for him to go, and he's like, I'll get you.
Wait until he's well out of earshot and going like, yeah, you better run.
So,
so funny.
Scully at Mulder's on the phone with Skinner, who tells her that Spender is finally going after the two of them. There's talks of closing down the X-Files, and Mulder says it was all strategized. Basically, he knows that Cancerman has basically put all this into motion because of the Morley packet and because of the fact he saw him talking to Spender, I should say. Like they wanted Mulder to find Gibson. They wanted him to get excited about the what Gibson means to all this, only to pull the rug out from under them and make them look like asshats. So Cancerman steals Samantha's file from Mulder's office. Hey, he runs into Spender, tells him he's his father, so drops that bombshell on him. It's kind of like
did he?
Yes.
Did I miss that?
Did you not get that?
Nope.
Oh, dude, you must. Oh man, you must have zoned out on that bit. Yeah, he just flat out tells him, "I'm your father."
I completely missed that. I don't know if something happened, distracted me or something.
Oh, right. No, yeah, go back and check it out. It's a proper Darth Vader moment. It's like, I am your father. It's just literally like he meets Spender in the corridor. Spender goes over to him. They have like a few little words. Spender's kind of like, he knows that this guy is the higher up that's been in his corner, and he's basically like, who are you? Like, kind of, he's getting a bit frustrated, and then kind of Cancerman just looks at him for like a prolonged silence, and then just goes, "I'm your father." And then Spender's like, "What the?" And then an alarm sounds. Cancerman just walks off, and then
it kind of goes and then runs.
Yeah.
I seen that. I must just have completely tuned out for that one sentence.
No. Yeah, he says so. So he says, "I'm father." Spender is Cancerman's son. So that's why he's been positioned. That's why he's been allowed to climb the ladder in the FBI in such a short time. So there's this alarm going off, and Mulder's office is basically going up in flames, absolutely torched. Cancerman has just
used it as an ashtray, I think.
But he took Samantha's file, which shows us that's the one file in there that is important to him. But he, as for the rest of it, couldn't care less. He's torched it all.
He's burnt all the files. He's burnt Mulder's poster. He's burnt Mulder's porn collection. He's just took it all out in one.
Even the pencil stuck in the ceiling. It's like, oh man. So Mulder and Scully get there. The fire crews are cleaning out. Mulder gets into his burnt wreck of an office, and Scully can't really do anything but just hug him. And the two of them just stand there hugging, and we fade out. X-Files music, boom, the end. Wrap up. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we end the season as we start with a really strong episode. I think it's a whole lot of fun, and it's the first time we finish up a season finale without a big cliffhanger, which, you know what, it's not that bad. I think because we've got such a great episode, we've got so much going on. We get the return of Smoking Man with not just a return, but making a statement for everybody. You know, I'm taking no prisoners this time around.
Yeah.
Spender's in here as a kind of whipping boy. He's got that aspect of Mulder just nailed completely. I like the love triangle. I think it's great. It's because it's never really addressed like a typical love triangle. It's just it's there in the periphery, and it's always fun. And I think it just strengthens the relationship between Mulder and Scully, which is a great thing to have. And I'm looking forward. I like the boy. I think I like the boy a lot, and I love the one interaction he has when Smoking Man is handing him over to Well Manicured Man. When the guy's like, "Don't worry, everything will be fine," and he's like, "You're a liar too." So, and I do find that there's lots of moments in this that just like I was laughing at, not because it was silly, but just because the situation of it was just funny to me. Which I enjoyed.
It was meant to be funny.
It's another 5 out of 5 episode for me, and that it rounds off what I think will be the strongest season of the X-Files out of them all. I haven't seen other ones, but I'm pretty positive the consistency level here is exceptional.
Yeah, just everything you just said. This is one of the best mythology episodes, I think. Mythology episodes tend to be 2-parters, sometimes 3-parters, and that's the thing with them is like they very rarely do mythology episodes that are just single episodes. When we do get them, they tend to be really good, like Memento Mori, when we had the episode with Scully dealing with the cancer. But they do tend to be 2- and 3-parters. And like you say, because it's the end of the season, they do end it in such a way that essentially the villain has won.
Oh yeah.
He's been out of action for most of the season. We know he's been there because he's sneakily kind of popped up halfway through the season. It's like, all right, so we know he's still in the wings waiting. Comes back, literally just cleans house, shows who's in charge, takes out all the pieces, and it's a masterstroke. It's chess player. It's like he shows himself to be the true chess player, and I just think it's a really great episode. And when you come off this episode in 1998, you are so ready to get your ass into that theater and watch the film. Like I come off this and I'm like, right, rubbing my hands together going, next up, cinema. So I can't tell you what I was like during the summer of 98 when just after watching this episode and knowing that the movie was literally just around the corner. I was so stoked. I was like, I've never been more of a fanboy, I don't think, than that period of my life. So 5 out of 5 from me. Absolutely brilliant episode. So
there we have it. So that's the end of season 5. Next episode, as usual, will be our top 5 and bottom 5 episodes from this season, which, to be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to talking about and kind of not at the same time, because I think it's a disservice putting 5 bottom episodes in this season. I think it's going to be the hardest one. So but I'm looking forward to that discussion nonetheless. So remember to join us next time, where we'll be discussing our favourite and least favourite episodes of this season. As always, leave a comment or a review on the YouTube channel or the podcast service that you listen to us from, and we'll see you next time.